Hi guys, today we're going to take a bit of a look back towards fractions and decimals. Now I want to start again here with a story, or just a little scenario. I'm going to say that 20 out of a class of 32 completed the homework on time. And when we're reading that, there are certain important words really, and the real key things in terms of our maths that we need to know are the numbers 20 and 32 and also out of. Because the way I'm going to write that is 20 and then out of 32. So this line means out of. So 20 out of 32. And then that's a nice little fraction to look at, but I'm sort of thinking they're both even numbers, so I wonder if I can cancel that down. And actually, looking even closer at them, I can see that they're both in the 4 times table. So I'm going to divide them both by 4. And that's going to give me 5 over 8. And looking at this, I know that doesn't cancel down any further because 5 doesn't go into 8 and 5 is also a prime number, so that can't be divided up any further. So that's in its simplest form. And in our simplest form we are saying 5 out of every 8 students completed homework on time. So we've got that simplified form saying 5 out of every student. Again, 5 out of every 8 students. 5 out of every 8 students. Now, I want to take a second look at the idea of 5 out of every 8. And I'd like to think about that middle line. Now, if I think about this middle line, and I've got, so there's my middle line, and I've got a number here and a number here, you can see that this line means divide. And all through maths history, that number has always meant divide. But then when we had to make a divide button on a calculator, obviously we have a take away button. So if a line meant take away and a line meant divide, they would both be the same and everybody would be confused. So we've got these dots to represent the numbers, and really this symbol here has come about from having to use a calculator. So the line means divide. So 5/8 can also mean 5 divided by 8. And if I think in 5 divided by 8, using my favourite bus stop method, that's 5 divided by 8. So I'm saying how many 8s go into 5? Well, that seems a bit ridiculous in many respects. So how many 8s go into 5? Well, there's no 8s go into 5. But what do we do from then on? Well, once we're saying there's no 8s going to 5 units, we then need to break that into the next level along. So we're thinking about in tenths. And we'll put a decimal point here and here. 8 into 5 doesn't go, so we carry the 5. 8 into 50 though goes 6 times, but we carry a 2 over and add another 0, so we're now looking at hundredths. 8 into 20 hundredths goes 2 times, remainder 4, and 8 into 40 goes 5 times. So 5/8 is directly equivalent to 0.625, and it's not much of a step after then to say, if that's the fraction of a whole, so this is another way of writing the fraction of a whole, what would the fraction of 100 be, to times by 100 again, and then say that that's 62.5%. So 20 out of 32, working through all this, would be 62.5%. So 20 over 32 as a fraction, cancel it down if we can, and then do top divided by the bottom. So the thing to remember in here is that's your top number and that's your bottom number. And I know some of you are screaming at me, screaming at the screen saying, Mr. Parker, you should be saying, what are those numbers called properly? So this is the denominator. I'd like you to remember that tells you the type of fraction that we're doing, and the numerator tells us how many of those fractions we've got. The word denomination means type in all uses. So 5 of type 8. So numerator goes inside the bush shelter, denominator goes outside in the cold. Okay? So numerator divided by denominator, if we work it out using the bush shelter method, will give us a decimal, and if we're asked to find a percentage, you times by, if you spotted my error there, you times by 100. So this is the fraction of 1 times by 100 will give you the fraction of 100%. The cent means 100. Okay?